So, hello, welcome back to another episode of the Self-Development with Tactics podcast. What we're going to do today it's going to be about Stoicism, probably. Stoicism, yes. Maybe quotes, maybe it's going to be the subreddit. I think we're actually indeed going to start with the Stoicism subreddit, kind of back to the roots. It is interesting. It really, let's say it can be interesting. There are many great sources when it comes to Stoicism. For example, the Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday. Yes, and there are many books also by him. And of course, there are also many books by, Seneca and Marcus Aurelius or Mark Aurel, and so on and so forth. And also Modern Stoicism, as I'm just seeing it right there. But I would also argue that the Stoicism subreddit can be very useful and usable when it comes to many different things. And also when you're having a very specific question that might not have been answered before. So you can go to the subreddit, which I'm going to show you right now, for all things related to Stoicism, and can use it for your own good. My anxiety lies to me many times what I do. What should I do? Hello everyone, I am a 16 years old boy. Thanks for reading my post. There is a famous phrase from the Stoic Seneca that said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." This phrase seems to encapsulate well what my anxiety does to me. I suffer imagining scenarios that never happen, or if they happen, it is not as nearly bad as I thought before. Today, for example, I was anxious to tell my father about a party that I was invited, thinking that he would react very angrily and aggressively, and that he would not let me go to the party. It didn't happen. He let me go, and he was pretty calm with that. This happens all the time, especially in my relationships. It seems my brain is playing tricks on me, and I feel it's cutting off plenty of my potential as a person. I would argue that realizing that and seeing that, I'm sorry you have not seen the whole thing. I think realizing that and seeing that, first of all, is a very good indicator, because without seeing things, and I'm talking about this millions of times, without seeing things, you cannot actually do anything about it. So one has to make sure or try to see certain things, try to see certain distortions, let's call them distortions, so that we can do something about them. But I am no expert, I'm no therapist, I am no person that have I been anxious? I don't actually know. I might have been, regarding certain things, thinking that this, that, and the other thing is going to be super duper bad and super duper worse than it actually was then. And I think we're just trying to protect ourselves. I think we're just trying to make sure that we are feeling good. Maybe I shouldn't ask this person because afterwards I might feel really bad. Maybe I shouldn't do this, that, and the other thing, because I might feel bad afterwards. So it's just us protecting ourselves. It is just us trying to protect ourselves, and it really makes sense. It really does. And I think it is also quite interesting to think about, why are we anxious? In terms of, back to the roots, why have we been anxious for, such a long period of time? I mean, since basically we exist, I would say. I mean, there probably was, and I do not know any data, I do not know any facts, to be honest, but I would assume that there are, that there have been certain reasons why nature gave us anxiety. Whether it was, okay, now we really have to do something, now we should really do something, or it was, I don't know. I mean, there are many options, I think, why we are like this and why we have this trait. And I think discovering this initial biological reason and also discovering the reason you are anxious or maybe anxious, trying to figure things out, understanding it. I think understanding then leads to accepting it, and being able to maybe solve this problem, solve this issue, like, why do I think that somebody is going to be angry? And I don't necessarily think that everything has to always be rooted in childhood. Many things are, but I kind of have a feeling that not everything has to be rooted in childhood. I've just experienced the benefits of being a Stoic. What is the most difficult thing to accept or admit about yourself? This could be something you feel you should ultimately accept or something you feel you should admit in order to work on and move beyond. No need for detail unless you feel like sharing, no judgment, just as an opportunity to share and think about ourselves and our goals. Something that I think that I've realized yesterday was when it is not about me, when it is about another person, when I'm talking to another person, I probably should give opportunities to talk. I should not, and I think it is a very difficult ratio to get right, I'd say. But some people like to talk about things and some people don't like to talk about things. And, asking too many questions might be a bad idea, and asking too less questions might also be a bad idea. So I would believe and I would think that there should be, or, would have to be a good ratio of giving this person just the opportunity to talk about certain things. And this is clearly what I'm seeing there, that this person decided to understand that people do not necessarily have somebody to talk to, at least not, when it comes to, very deeply rooted things. But now they have. And this is one of the great things about Reddit and social media in general. And also one of the reasons why I think do really hate people demonizing social media and being like, oh, I feel bad because of social media. And of course, there probably is a lot of data on that. There probably is a lot of reasons why we were not designed for all those ads, all those inputs and whatever. But still, we can use it for a really great sake. Let's see what people are saying. I really need to stop looking at the negative. I got into a habit of signing and moaning when I had to do the mundane tasks such as housework. I have an addiction to online pornography, which I am having a very hard time trying to stop. I also have a continuous feeling that I don't have time for art, which is completely untrue because I spend all time watching TV shows and movies instead of doing art. I'm in a loop and I'm way too lazy in the mornings and don't warm up till 9:30 a.m. Which I can understand, and it might be about dopamine. And a very great source when it comes to dopamine is Andrew Huberman. I think the latest newsletter, which is available on his website, so Andrew Huberman podcast.think.com, I do not remember. But Google for Andrew Huberman and dopamine, and go through this content, go through this information, this sometimes very scientific, but yet always very understandable and very, very, very well done, well distributed. Also sometimes a few clips and whatever. One should definitely check that out, because it might be about that. These entertainments or pleasures such as TV show or movies or games have a side to them that is a lot worse than any other harm they do, which is that they destroy any other activity. They destroy. You watch a TV show for an hour or two and there is an okay amount of time, not too much, but once you're done watching and you try to do your art and start drawing, all you want to do is watch TV now. Is it really the case? I don't know. This is me in a nutshell. So apparently, this is basically what this person is having quite the hard time dealing with. Maybe there is, and I hope that this is fine, as I have been talking about it before. Sometimes it might be the case that publishing certain things might not be a good idea. So let's actually check out whether we can find something great on Stoicism on YouTube. Probably from the Daily Stoic. I feel like that most often they are pretty great, yet quite short. How to conquer your anxiety. I mean, is this a joke? It is a short, but I think it's I think we should go through that, should we? I hope it's not too long.
We're anxious, we're worried about this thing that's going to happen, this thing we're dreading, this thing we hope doesn't occur. We think, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Well, Marcus Aurelius says, you know what you're going to do. You're going to meet that problem with the same...
Wait a second. No.
Did you ever meet...
No.
We're anxious, we're worried about this thing that's going to happen, this thing we're dreading, this thing we hope doesn't occur. We think, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Well, Marcus Aurelius says, you know what you're going to do. You're going to meet that We're anxious, we're worried about this thing that's going to happen, this thing we're dreading, this thing we hope doesn't occur. We think, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Well, Marcus Aurelius says, you know what you're going to do. You're going to meet that problem with the same weapons, with the same tools, with the same attitude that you've met all your previous problems. You'll be fine. You'll get through it. Don't wreck yourself today with worry and anxiety and rumination, right? Just realize you have the tools. You've been through stuff like this before. That's what you will meet tomorrow's problem with. So be comfortable with that. Be confident with that. You'll meet tomorrow with the same weapons you have today, with the same weapons you've met all your obstacles and adversity with in the past. And that's what do you actually value?
And maybe even more things, more techniques, more opportunities, more tools to work out and work on those certain things that you're having trouble with. Period. I'm very sorry for the aspect ratio. It was totally shit there. So, this how should I say, this window that I'm having there for the stream and or podcast and whatever, it is definitely not that great for shorts. It's definitely not designed for shorts. In 1 minute or less. Let's check that out. You haven't seen it. So 60 Stoic lessons in 1 minute or less. By the way, the other one was How to Conquer Your Anxiety, #shorts, by the Daily Stoic / Ryan Holiday. This is my source, by the way.
The Stoics believed it's not what happens that's important, it's how we respond to what happens. We don't control the outside world, but we control what we do in reaction to the outside world. We control how we rise to face obstacles. We decide what we make of the opportunities that life throws at us. We don't control what happens, we control how we respond. That's Stoicism. There's an amazing story about Kurt Vonnegut and Joseph Heller, who wrote Catch-22 and Slaughterhouse-5. They're at the party of this billionaire. And Vonnegut is teasing Heller, and he says, this billionaire whose house we're at, he made more money this week than your book will make it its entire life. And Heller says, but I have something that he doesn't have. Vonnegut says, what's that? And Heller says, I have some idea of what enough is. He says, I have enough. This idea of enough is so powerful. Seneca, who quotes Epicurus, says, if you don't regard what you have as enough, you will never be happy even if you rule the entire world, right? Enough is never enough, the Epicureans and the Stoics say, for the person who enough is too little. And if you can get to a place of enough, what I have is good, everything else is extra, then everything you get is a bonus, and the rest of your life is amazing. But if you tell yourself you'll only be happy if I'll feel better when, you'll never get there. The finish line will move, I promise you. Enough is enough. 7 Stoic don'ts, things you must stop doing right now according to the Stoics. Don't be overheard complaining, not even to yourself, as Marcus Aurelius says. Don't talk more than you listen. 2 ears, 1 mouth. That's Zeno. Don't tie your identity to things you own, because those things are fragile, because those things can be taken from you at any moment. Don't compare yourself to others. Comparison is the thief of joy. Don't suffer imagined troubles, as Seneca says. It'll either happen or it won't. Don't suffer before you need to. Don't judge others. Strict with others, tolerant with yourself. That's Marcus Aurelius. Remember, you mess up too, so don't judge other people. And finally, don't overindulge in food or drink. This is...
Have I... Either I have misunderstood that, but strict with others and tolerant with yourself. I think it is the opposite. I might have overheard that, but I still want to clarify. As far as I know, it is strict with yourself and very tolerant with others, which I also believe makes sense and is a good thing. Especially, I mean, when I'm the boss, when I'm the person that is in charge of something, I cannot expect anyone to work as hard on this particular thing, on this business, as I'm doing it. I cannot expect it. Period. This is what it is. Why? Because it is my business and it is not their business. So, period, I would say. But also regarding many things. I mean, I am fully in control of what I do, basically also what I think, what I say, and whatever. And I am not in control of other people. So expectancies are a big thing. Expectancies are bad. But I mean, I can't control it. So I have to live with what I'm getting. I have to live with what I'm having. What those people are doing, this is all I get, and period. Of course I can talk to them, and of course I can talk to them in a certain way so that they, might feel like doing more or doing better or whatever. But yes.
Is the idea of temperance. It's about balance. It's about the right amount. So those are 7 Stoic don'ts to stop doing right now. 3 lessons from Marcus Aurelius. Number 1, it's not what happens, it's how we respond to what happens. He says the impediment to action allows us an opportunity to move forward, to try a different action. Number 2, he says, ask yourself at every moment, is this essential? Do I really need to do this? And he says when you do less, you get the double benefit of doing less better. The third thing from Marcus Aurelius, this would be the exercise of memento mori. He said you could leave life right now, let that determine what you do and say and think. He says
and this is the quote with which I'm willing to end the episode here. Memento mori. Remember that you're gonna die. Whatever is happening to you at this time, at this very appointed time, today or whatever, you're gonna die someday. It's hopefully gonna take another 100 years or something. But we're all gonna die. And I think that there are 2 options that we're having. Either we're trying to live as good as a life as we can for ourselves, whatever this might mean to us. And this is definitely not about having financial success, nor success in general. But we can either do this or have a fucking shit life. And we decide. We can at least decide to a high degree, of course. Circumstances still matter, even though circumstances apparently are not that detrimental to happiness. But still, memento mori. So, see you soon. I do really hope that I've been able to share some thoughts of value to you. And I'm hopefully going to see you the next time. So.